Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Good to see you all here. So Bitcoin pumping or dumping? What does the close of the monthly candle mean for the price action that we could see on Bitcoin? We had a lot of questions on this after our live stream yesterday, so I wanted to do a special live to talk about this today because there's some huge opportunities to make money coming up, but you have to go into them with the right trader mindset, right? If you think the price is about to go to the moon, you're going to trade differently than if you think we're in a recapitulation. And both provide opportunities to make really great money, but you just have to understand which of those cycles we're in. And if in doubt, zoom out. All traders talk about this. You see a lot of our favorite YouTubers talking about this. So I want to do a quick zoom out with you to remind everyone where we're at on the monthly candles. So let me go straight into sharing my screen, and we're going to take you over to the monthly candles. So if we look at this monthly chart, I like to look at this chart periodically because this is the overall index for Bitcoin from the inception of Bitcoin. So for when Bitcoin was released in 2010, this shows all of the bull cycles that we've had since then, right? And a lot of people recently, a lot of our favorite YouTubers like Randall at Crypto Love and Crypto and Ivan on Tech and BitBoy, a lot of these guys have been talking about the pi cycle indicator, which gives an indication of whether we're at the top, right? This pi cycle indicator, when it crosses, we know we're peaking, right? And this was reverse engineered back over time on Bitcoin, but we just had a cross of the pi cycle indicator. So a lot of indications that we're at a local peak here, right? And the only time we saw a bull run with two peaks before, and a lot of you have seen this, is back in 2013. We saw a lesser peak and then the bull run continued to eventually top out around $1,000, right? So this particular bull run is the closest scenario to what we should be talking about right now. We all know history doesn't repeat, but I like how Da Vinci Jeremiah talks about it. He says it sure does rhyme, right? So let's go back and focus in on what usually happens in a bull run. We really only have a single example in the entire history of Bitcoin where we had 7 monthly green candles in a row. And that was back in the very early days of Bitcoin back in 2011. Otherwise, the dominant pattern is 5 green candles in a row, less often 6. We only have this single example of 7 green candles that's ever happened during the life of Bitcoin, right? So I want to focus in on this 2013 bull run because it's the closest scenario to what we might be experiencing right now. So let me focus in on this piece, right? So what we saw in 2013, there was a run up to where the pi cycle indicator crossed, right? Sorry, it's right here. Run up to where the pi cycle indicator crossed. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green candles. And then there was a 2.5 month long recapitulation here. Okay, so this was April. We didn't see the turnaround again until July. That was the impact of the pi cycle indicator cross, okay? The other thing that we want to pay attention to is we just did a scenario interview with one of our mentors, Jeroen van Lange, talking about Mercury retrogrades, okay? And one of the things we see, you know, some people might think Mercury retrograde is a little woo-woo, right? Are people really affected by the planets, and are the markets affected by the planets? Well, we see lots of examples of this, right? We know, if you know any nurses that work in the maternity wards of hospitals, they will tell you when there's a full moon, the maternity wards are bursting, right? So when the planets do different things, it affects the way people behave, and that shows up in how the markets perform, right? And Mercury retrograde is one of these things that we've seen has an effect on Bitcoin. In a bull cycle, Mercury retrograde normally accelerates the upward trend. In a bear cycle, it normally accelerates or rather decelerates the downward trend, right? This is one of the few exceptions where we saw Mercury retrograde that didn't do either, okay? Let me zoom in on the daily here, okay? This is the daily for that period in March 2014. What we saw was for about 2.5 months, the market consolidated, okay? And it formed this beautiful symmetrical triangle, which eventually broke out and started the bull run again. The Mercury retrograde was actually the turnaround in price for that period, okay? So one of the few exceptions on Mercury retrograde was during this recapitulation. So let's talk about that. You can easily Google when the Mercury retrogrades are coming up if you want to check this out for yourself. But here's what the current price action is looking like right now. This is the daily price chart. Again, I'm on this overall price index for Bitcoin, which is basically the behavior of Bitcoin since the inception of time across a number of different exchange platforms, right? And most people right now are trading this upward rising wedge, right? We just broke down, we just reconfirmed it. People are in this decision point of, do I trade the short? Do I trade the long? I'm not sure which way the market could be going. And the truth is, I'm not predicting anything right now. I want to re-emphasize this, right? Scenario trading, one of the things we research in our mastermind for scenario trading is we have a group of volunteers that mastermind together, and we dive deep into researching different scenarios. Should they play out, what might we expect based on what's historically happening, right? And by the way, if you want to volunteer to be part of that mastermind to help us research different scenarios, all we do is we go back into the price action and investigate different questions of, like, if this scenario plays out, what did this look like in past, right? So feel free to reach out if you want to join that mastermind. So basically, a lot of people trading this wedge right now, but if we zoom out, some of these price lines have been respecting for quite some time. Like, we have a touch point all the way back to 2018 for this trend line of this upward rising wedge. Now, that's a long gap. I don't recommend anyone trade it, but I'm just pointing it out because I want people to realize this trend line is a well-established trend line in the charts that is well beyond last February in terms of being a dominant trend line, right? Similarly, the upward or the lower support of the upward rising wedge goes all the way back to last touch points. Well, the really solid touch points, the last ones were at the end of February, right? So we've got this Mercury retrograde coming up here, and the target of this upward rising wedge, if we took the last touch points at the point of breakdown, is actually down here. I put an arrow to mark it, right? It's down around 40,000. But if we look at some of the bigger scenarios that play out, right? If, for example, this wedge played out, or if we looked at the same level of retracement that happened back here in 2013, this was an over 75% retracement in the price, right? So a 75% retracement in the price could take us all the way down here. And I'm just pointing that out because some of these support lines have actually been going on in the charts for quite some time. Now, why is this an opportunity to make huge money, right? We all know a lot of traders say bear cycles are actually for leverage trading. There's a lot more opportunities to make money. But if you're going into what's going on this week with the mindset of I'm waiting for the recapitulation point for the huge breakout, like we all know, a lot of traders use the strategy. Like if you follow Chris on Crypto, Chris uses the strategy where when we expect a dominant bull cycle to be starting, when we're at a breakout point for a dominant bull cycle, he opens really large trades, and he keeps them open for months, right? And we've all watched him make money on that. I'm a huge fan of Chris and Crypto. He's mentored me on a number of items. And when you're trying to get into a trade like that, it's important that you choose the right entry point, because otherwise you're leaving a lot of profit on the table because you might be trying to get into the trade, moving your stop loss up, stopping out, trying to get into the trade, moving your stop loss out, stopping out. So you might be in profit, but you're not keeping your trades open to the target, and you're not taking profit to the target. So if leave a comment down below if you know what I'm talking about, right? If you've been leaving a lot of profit on the table because you've been leaving your trades open lately, wondering if this is the one that I should be holding open for multiple trades, then this is the scenario I'm talking about, right? Whereas if we knew there was a larger recapitulation happening, and the recapitulation is likely to happen for some time, like we have a few more weeks of it happening, right? Then in that scenario, you would actually be taking profit and closing out your trades on a shorter time frame, right? And therefore, you're actually making a lot more money when you're doing that. If you're not wondering if this is the trade, this is the one I should be keeping open. You're also a lot more confident in trading the shorts, right? Because a lot of us traders have a trading rule, like we all have our own personal rules. I have mine, you have yours. A lot of us have a personal rule about not trading shorts in a dominant bull cycle. Well, if we know there's a major recapitulation happening, then that's a time where it does become safe to start trading the shorts again. You might still want to take profit before the target, but you want to think about in those scenarios, it might not be breaking out at any moment, right? So just something really important to consider, right? We had 2.5 months of consolidation here. Last time we had a 2 top high cycle indicator. Okay, so we might not be seeing the huge breakout. That doesn't mean there aren't huge opportunities to make money. In fact, if we see a recapitulation like 2013, the percentage gains on this bull run were far greater than the percentage gains on the bull run we saw in 2017. This was a much stronger bull run, and a lot of people are speculating, and I'm with them. The fact that we had this solid recapitulation in the middle of that bull run actually made the bull run last longer, and it made us top out higher. So this kind of recapitulation could be really, really good for the price of Bitcoin. In fact, personally, I don't want it to be too rapid, because in the long run, in the short run, we can make a lot more money if we understand this is a recapitulation and it might last more than just a couple of weeks. And let me zoom out here again. And it might mean that where we top out in this bull run is a lot higher at the end of the bull run. So that's it for today. Don't forget to hit the like button, give us a thumbs up on the like button, hit subscribe, click the notification button, and hit the bell if you want more of these updates. We talk a lot about mindset on this channel, and we talk about different scenarios that could affect how you trade the patterns in the Bitcoin price action. We also talk about altcoins sometimes. So if you're interested in understanding different scenarios that could be affecting the price action, and also might change your mindset of how you're trading, because if you know we're in a major recapitulation, you have less FOMO in terms of like keeping your trades open, right? And you trade more responsibly. You take profit when you should be taking profit. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to click the notification bell. If you're interested in joining our mastermind that researches different scenarios, feel free to reach out. We'd love to have more people in that mastermind. We meet weekly, and each person takes on different research scenarios and comes back and discusses it with the team. So once again, thanks so much for joining us on Conscious Crypto, and we'll see you all next time. Until then, trade consciously.